Okay, hi. How are you, Jenny?
I'm doing okay this week. Not too bad.
Okay, well, good. As you know, this is our third session
Yeah.
together, and I just wanted to, once again, just lay down the ground rules for you that, first of all, we're making progress, and everything that is stated here in our counseling session between us is confidential. Just need to remind you of the limits of our confidentiality. Once again, if you express any suicidal ideations or if you discuss wanting to harm anyone, that those things need to be reported. Okay? By law, I need to report those things.
Okay.
Outside of that, I can guarantee you the confidentiality of our counseling session together. Okay? So moving forward, in our last session, we talked about um, um, your friendships. We further explored your friendship with Stephanie. You were given the homework assignment to write a letter to both Stephanie and Brandy, but you were only able to complete half of the letter to Stephanie.
Right.
And I also said that I wanted to talk about today exploring your expectations for the relationship, for a possible restoration of a relationship between you and Stephanie and Brandy as well. We may go a little further and talk about some other areas, especially at work. But if we don't get to that, we'll cover that in our next session. Okay? So, let's talk about your homework assignment to Stephanie. You were to finish that letter,
Yes.
considering that she wasn't going to see the letter, but identifying with your emotions as well as seeing things from Stephanie's perspective and the challenges that she may be facing, wanting to restore the friendship with you as well. Were you able to finish that letter to Stephanie?
I did finish a draft of the letter.
Okay.
I didn't bring it because I'm afraid if I take it someplace, like what happens if I leave it somewhere? So I didn't bring it.
Okay.
But yes, I finished the letter.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say a draft of it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. And how was that for you? What challenges did you encounter this time?
I had to really work hard on thinking, not tripping myself up,
Okay.
and like remember, she's not gonna see it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to read it to anybody, so
Mhm.
just be honest.
Okay.
So that was a little, I had to constantly tell myself that.
Okay.
But I was able, what I did that it made it easier for me to finish it.
Okay. Okay. What emotions did you identify this time? I know last time you talked about being angry because you didn't feel that you needed to explain that to her. You wanted her to be able to understand without any explanation what has happened to you and why you're feeling the way that you are feeling. So, what new emotions besides anger have you been able to identify?
I would say nervous.
Okay.
Or maybe anxious.
Okay. And
I
why?
don't know if those are the same thing.
Nervousness and anxiousness. Okay, they might be very close, but yes, let's talk about that.
Would you ask me? Do I know why?
Yes. Yes. Why? Why nervousness and anxiety and anxiousness?
I think because I kept thinking, what if what would she say if I was saying this to her?
Okay.
So thinking about saying it out loud made me nervous, or made me feel anxious or whatever. So there were those feelings, and then I think just talking, like even writing it down,
Mm-hmm.
made me feel. It made me feel bad.
Okay.
Um, I did feel. I felt bad. I felt bad about what happened. Which I don't think was about Stephanie, maybe, but I just felt bad. Like talking about it makes me feel bad. It makes me feel like a bad person. Um, Talking about the rape, like a bad person.
Bad in the way that you were responsible for the rape, or
Um, like bad things happen to bad people, and so I feel like on some level that I must be I feel like a bad person, like I'm not a good person.
okay.
I don't know. Um, and I don't know if that was about Stephanie, but when I talk about the rape, when I talk about that night, I feel bad. Um, so feeling bad, feeling anxious or nervous, and then I will say at the end, I'm glad to have it done.
Okay.
I don't even know what I said. I haven't read it.
Okay.
I read it. I wrote it, put it in the journal that you gave me, when I first came in a little notebook, and
Okay.
but I'm glad to say that I did it.
Okay.
So I think that whatever that feeling is,
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that I did it.
Do you feel successful?
Well, yeah, I guess that because most times when I have those feelings like at work, I can't, I don't know how to push through that. So I have to go like away from people, or I lash out. So this time, because it was just me in the paper,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to worry about anybody being mad at me.
Okay.
So I guess I do feel successful that I was able to finish that, even though I had all those feelings.
Okay. So you completed the letter. You feel some level of success.
Mm-hmm.
Are you satisfied? I know that you said that you didn't read what you've written, but do you feel satisfied that you were able to um, get out some feelings, that you were able to communicate that in writing?
Satisfied? Um, I don't know if that would be the word I would use.
Okay.
Um, I'm just glad it's done.
Okay.
I think, and that's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like when like if you have to work out,
Mm-hmm.
and you should work out,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be good for you,
Mm-hmm.
even though it's going to take a lot of working out because you got to lose some weight.
Yes. Yes.
I'm glad I got the one session done.
Okay.
So that's all I can really say about it. I don't know if it's satisfied.
Okay.
Um,
It's just done.
it's just done.
It's just done.
I don't think I'll be satisfied. I don't know how. I don't even know how. I don't know what would ever make me feel satisfied at this point. But
right.
I think I'm glad it's done, and I do feel like I did a good thing by doing it.
Okay. Well, can you tell me what new things you've learned about yourself as a result of writing the letter to Stephanie?
That I didn't realize how much I wasn't thinking about her.
Okay.
I know you told me before to think about it from her perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I realized. Like I was thinking about, if something's happened on her job or if something's happened, like she found a really good. She loves the coupon.
Okay.
And so she always calls me, call me with a coupon deal.
Okay.
And I don't know who she does that with.
Okay.
And so I never really thought about that until you told me to think about her perspective. So I learned that I was not doing that.
Okay.
And thinking about her. I think the only way I was thinking about her is someone who failed me.
Okay.
And I think now it was helpful to think about her beyond that.
Okay. Okay. Well, good. It sounds like that you've discovered a new way to identify um, how Stephanie might be feeling in regards to the relationship being strained. And that's a step in the right direction because when you can place yourself in someone else's shoes, it gives you a different perspective. It broadens your horizons and it allows you to develop new ideas, new feelings, a new fresh perspective. Um, and so, what I would like to ask you is, do you have the same expectations? Well, let me rephrase this. What are your expectations for Stephanie and you regarding your friendship? What expectations do you have?
Now,
Yes, now.
that I can, that, um, so I wrote them down. I wrote 3 things down. That we can talk about anything again.
Mm-hmm.
That she won't judge me when and if I tell her about the rape.
Okay.
And that, um, so I think that we talk about anything that she won't judge me, and that our friendship won't be about this.
Okay.
I want us to be able to be friends and not just be about this.
Okay.
Like I want her to be there for me, but I don't want it to only be about this. I feel like everything in my life is about this rape, that stupid night,
Right.
and I hate it.
Right.
And I don't want that night to take over one more thing in my life.
Okay. So you like to rekindle your friendship with Stephanie without the focus being the rape. the rape incident. Okay. Um, have you imagined how difficult it might be for her um, to accept what has happened to you?
Um, um, I know. I think I just think about. I told her. Um, I think it will be hard because I know her and I believe she cares about me.
Okay.
But it will be hard for her to hear that something bad happened.
Right.
Like that bad. I don't think she will struggle with. Um,
You know, as a friend, I can identify with um, receiving um, shocking news that one of my friends has been hurt, um, and thinking, wow, how can I help? How can I be there as a friend? So, as much as you have revealed about Stephanie's nurturing spirit, do you think that that will change in any way?
what?
That her need to want to nurture you, to be there for you, to listen to you, to console. Do you think that that will change in any way?
Um, well, I mean, I think that's why I worry about it, about saying it. I don't know for sure, but I do worry that she will think of me as bad, or maybe she just thinks I'm too crazy. So she won't know what to do, and so she just will have hands off.
Stephanie seems to be a very reasonable, level-headed person. This is how you have described her in our previous sessions. But she has been your voice of reason, right? You've been able to trust her with very personal, intimate information. Um, I can only imagine that Stephanie would want to know what has happened to you because it would help her to further identify why the relationship has changed so much. So I want you to focus on her reaction in a positive perspective rather than a negative one. Okay? And eventually, as you're able to go back and read this letter, what I would eventually like for us to do is to perhaps role play what you think Stephanie's reaction would be once you're able to share with her um, um, the details of what happened to you that night and why things have changed so much. So that would possibly prepare you to face the unexpected of what you think might happen once you're able to share with Stephanie face to face. So, um, what would surprise you the most um, in sharing this information with Stephanie if her reaction to this wasn't what you thought it would be?
What would surprise me the most if she didn't react like I thought she would?
Yeah. Yes. What would surprise you the most?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I think I would be. I don't. I think I would. I would be. I would be. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if she had a negative reaction. I kind of feel like that's what would happen anyway. But I think that it would surprise me if she got angry.
Okay. Okay. If she were to respond angrily to you.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I would be surprised. I think I am prepared for shock and even like disgust or just fear.
Okay.
But I don't know why. I think I would be surprised if she was angry.
Okay. Why shock? Why the reaction of shock and fear as opposed to empathy and sadness and perhaps even disappointment that you couldn't trust her?
Because that's what he did.
Okay. And he being who?
My husband. My husband.
Your husband.
I mean, he initially was shocked.
Mm-hmm.
He was upset.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he was a little. I mean, he seemed like he was empathetic and sad,
Mm-hmm.
but it soon turned into like disgust
Mm-hmm.
and just an inability to deal with it. So um, that has been my experience.
Okay. Okay.
And I haven't told anybody else, so that he's the only person that knows.
Okay. You, with Stephanie being as reasonable as we talked about before, you didn't give her, however, the same privilege of knowing what happened to you right away. Whereas with your husband, he knew that instant,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Mm-hmm.
And then the boundaries of the relationship that you have with your husband is quite different than what you have with Stephanie. Would you say?
I mean, it's a different type of relationship.
It's a different type of relationship. And as you mentioned before in a previous session, Stephanie has never really um, reacted in an unreasonable way. She has been that reasonable person, um, that reasonable friend for you. That's why you've been able to trust her with your emotions, your deepest secrets, intimate secrets.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I hear what you're saying, that you think that if I think about who she has been and who she is,
Right.
I should be able to trust her. Like on a rational, from a rational perspective based off of past experiences. She should be someone, or she is someone, and should be someone I trust enough to tell very, um, you know, private things.
Right. You've been able to do that, and what I want you to make the distinction between the experience that you've had with your husband, and I want you to understand that his response to some degree is reasonable. It may have been hurtful in the long run, but it's reasonable because he um, loves you. You mentioned that you think that he loves you, that he even still cares because he'll check up on you from time to time. But I don't want you to merge the experience that you've had with your husband with the experience that you've had with Stephanie, because you were unable to recall anything that would call her character into question, um, as far as how she would respond to you, knowing some of your most intimate secrets.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I get it that you want me to keep them separate. Like you want me to think of Stephanie as my friend,
right,
and my husband
as your husband. Mm-hmm.
I think it's hard because they both mean so much to me. So, you know, this thing, which has never happened to me before, but this the rape and whatever happened with that, because I've never dealt with this. I've never had to deal with anything like this before. I don't really know how I'm supposed to understand how, or anticipate how it's going to impact the relationships in my life.
Well, you don't know. You don't know. And so part of the counseling process is to help you, um, to prepare you for some of the unexpected, but not to use the experience that you've had with your husband as a litmus test as to how the responses will be for future experiences that you will have. I think it's important that you can restore the relationship with both Stephanie and Brandy, and even beyond this point, establish healthy relationships outside of them as well.
I don't. That's a struggle for me because I don't know. I see what you're saying. I mean, and I want a healthy relationship. I want my friends back. I want to be able to talk to them. I want my husband to come back. But how do I do that? How do I get to a point where everything doesn't feel like people? It doesn't always feel like people are trying to avoid me,
Mm-hmm.
or like I don't really trust people anymore. Not only did the rape happen, but then my husband and I just, as much as I wanted to try to be normal and keep it together, I could not do it.
That's a devastating experience on top of having to deal with the fact that you were raped. You didn't anticipate, you didn't expect, and you definitely have no control over how people are going to respond to you, and you have no control over how what happened to you as well. So it's a lot to deal with. It's a lot to deal with, and the fact that you're here, the fact that you were able to complete um, part of the assignment in writing a letter to Stephanie is a major step. because now you're identifying feelings, you're identifying emotions, and now you're able to perhaps look at things from a different perspective. So what I want you to do now is to take one step further and to see if you can finish or begin a letter to Brandy. Because this also is another important and vital relationship in your life. We focused on Stephanie. Now I want you to focus on Brandy. Beginning a letter with Brandy, but this time what I would like for you to do, if possible, is to start that letter and to complete it. Because you're going to use the same parameters in being able to complete the letter. Identifying your emotions and feelings and knowing that it's okay to be angry, to be upset, to be confused, to be disappointed. All those things are normal feelings to have, considering what you've been through. But then to also identify that Brandy too might be facing some challenges, and she's a bit confused um, about why the relationship has changed so much. In addition, I'd like for you to talk about how these emotions that you're dealing with, these array of emotions that you've been dealing with, impact your professional life as well.
So you want me to write a letter to Brandy and try to finish it, doing it sort of the same way I did
Yes.
with Stephanie, and then you want me to think about how all of that, all these feelings have impacted my life at work.
Yeah. And we can actually begin the process of, just talking about that, because I think it's important when we talk about restoring friendships that there's life beyond Stephanie and Brandy. Yes, these two are your core support group people, or have been, but I can only imagine that things have changed for you at work as well.
Yeah, like I talked about before.
And can you describe for me a little bit how that has impacted your life at work? How are things different now?
Well, I mean, like I told you before, I had, you know, um, gotten recognition from inmates and people who, they were, Miss Jenny is nice. She listens to us, and my coworkers respected me. I had gotten commendations from, from the institution about just my integrity at work and my dependability. And I'm not her anymore. Okay. It's like there was life before the rape and life after the rape, and it wasn't an immediate. I really tried hard to keep it together.
Okay.
But I'm working with a bunch of inmates, and these men, some of these young men are sex offenders. Okay. Or some of them could easily be. And I find it difficult to still be able to see them as people and to laugh and chuck it up with my fellow coworkers who were male COs. Some of them make, like, one pat me on the shoulder and I'm ready to turn around and, like I'm jumping, and I can't relax. Okay. I cannot relax when I'm there. I can't laugh. I find myself wanting to cry a lot. And I say this, like, and I hate to say crazy, but I feel crazy. I feel complete and able to, I don't know how I feel from moment to moment. It just happens. Like, I just feel at one moment, like, angry, like, raging anger. And then the next moment, I feel guilt. And then I feel sadness. And then I feel frustration. And then I feel confused, because I don't even know I don't even know where it's coming from. And it's hard for me to get up and go to work every day. I call out all the time. And I can't afford to do that. I can't afford to keep using up my days. But I cannot massage. Like, it's hard. And this was a huge part of my life. I liked my work. I liked being proud of being there. And I just, I held it together, I think, decently. But after my husband left, I just haven't really been good there. And I've gotten called out by my supervisor, who, I've gotten messages and information from them saying I am too aggressive, I'm defensive, too quick to resort to physical restraint.
Okay.
So, it's definitely had an impact on me. I don't really understand. I don't know how to, I don't know, I think, do I need to quit my job? But I don't know what else to do. That's what I've always done.
Okay, so just to stop you for a moment, so things have changed. Things have changed, and from what I'm hearing, what you're saying, that you loved your job. Your work environment was a place that you loved to be. You excelled in what you did, and people recognized you for your good works. Even the inmates recognized you for being a good correctional officer. So you're not knowing how to because of what has happened, your relationships and encounters with the inmates have changed, as well as with your coworkers.
Yeah.
Okay. So not only has your personal relationships have changed as a result, but your professional relationships have changed,
yeah,
as well. Yeah. Okay. All right. So once again, knowing how to being able to identify these feelings, what you're feeling is valid, but how to place these feelings in a way that's going to be healthy for you to continue um, to move on from this point is a major step. And what we'll do is take it one step at a time. We'll continue to explore um, how you're responding in your work environment and what that potentially means for you. Does it mean that you will continue? Do you want to even continue in this work environment? Um, is it even possible for you to do that at this point? And that's something we'll continue to explore in our next session. Okay, but in the interim, we're going to still um, identify expectations that you have for the friendships that you have with Brandy and Stephanie. And in doing so, you're going to complete the letter to Brandy. And I also want you to read the letter that you wrote to Stephanie.
Read it.
Read it to yourself.
Okay.
Read it to yourself. And see if there's anything that you've written in there that you haven't covered. And if there's anything in there that's new information to you that you didn't realize that you may have unveiled. Okay? So are you clear on what it is that you need to do for your homework assignment?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And I will see you next week for our next session.
Okay.
Okay? Okay. All right. Thank you.